It's been 6 months since I moved from London to a small village in rural England. If you asked me 10 or, who am I even kidding, 2 years ago, I would have said that I'm an incurable city girl who'd never exchange busy city life for a quiet place and nature. And there I was, a little over 6 months ago, searching for a place as far removed from urban surroundings as possible. I wanted a change of pace, a different environment with more room to breathe and vaster landscapes to explore. This is my first ever experience in rural living, and perhaps I need to mention this right away. Even though I currently live in a village, it's not as remote as the sun. There is a tiny high street, a pub, a small grocery store, and even a coffee shop nearby, working shower and high-speed internet, so this might seem like not a big deal to some. But I can only speak from my own experience, and to someone like me who grew up in a city always surrounded by all the conveniences one could dream of within walking distance, moving to a village like mine is still pretty much a big deal. I've always been restless in my life. I spent 10 years in London and I managed to move 8 times within this period. It's interesting how even when living pretty close to the center of the never still and ever-changing capital, I always needed more. Even though I love that city and will forever consider it my home, I couldn't find peace there, which is why I needed to change my pace. Now, both me and my husband work from home, so the physical location doesn't really matter. It might not be sustainable for everyone to make a move to a remote location, especially if you have to commute all the time. With the rise of cottagecore aesthetics and this glamorized image of village life, it's so easy to jump on the bandwagon without thinking. But everyone must assess their own situation and make a move in researched and sustainable to their own lifestyle way. And I must add, one can physically keep running away as far as eyes can see, but you can never run away from yourself. As long as you don't feel at peace with who you are, moving to a new location will not create a lasting change. Having been the city girl for my entire life, I wasn't quite prepared for what rural life means. While to some people most of my challenges will seem nonsensical, I had to learn and adapt on the go, and frankly, 6 months on is still a process. There are a few things, the good and the bad, that I wanted to share with you. And the first thing, perhaps, is the distance. Suddenly, a 10 or 20-minute walk turned into a 20-minute or even longer drive, and every convenience is now unreachable without a car. Public transport is rare and quite inconvenienced also. Living in London, I never found the need to own a car. But now a car isn't just a thing that's nice to have, it's a necessity. There was always an abundance of choice what to do and where to go in the city, and I could walk pretty much anywhere. There were 3 different large supermarkets, all 15 to 20 minutes walking distance, and walking there and back while carrying bags of groceries was not a big deal at all. There was a choice of many restaurants, many coffee shops, dry cleaners, banks, cinemas, and any type of conveniences and entertainment you can think of, all minutes away. Now I have to plan my time more carefully. There is no such thing anymore as going out simply on a whim on a weekday evening or shopping late on the weekend. And the only entertainment accessible on the doorstep is the window through which you can watch red kites hover above our village. Village life doesn't offer the same abundance of choice, and every convenience is now a commitment. In fact, a lot of things I knew and did living in the city became quite redundant now, even the small things like clothes you wear. I love dressing up. Clothes, and I don't own many of them, allow me to turn myself into any character I want. Especially now that I'm used to working from home, clothes are a way of not just expressing myself, but also helping me feel a better functioning human being. But living rural, wearing pretty clothes isn't always sensible. There are many unpaved roads around, many woodland and riverside trails that are completely made out of dirt, especially during wet and rainy winters like the ones we get here in the south of England. Clothes get dirty and worn out pretty quickly. In fact, I still haven't invested in proper wellies or some sort of countryside boots, which would keep my feet dry and be easy to wash after yet another walk on the unpaved paths, often with cow and horse poop scattered along the way. But no matter how many times I have to wash my boots, I'm beyond happy that I get to walk these paths. Living in the countryside, you notice each season change more vividly. Autumn air smells different from winter, and now I can smell spring in the air as February reaches its peak. The woodlands and hedges are sprinkled white with snowdrops, and new carpets of lush green grass are now covering vast fields. I can go as far as eyes can see and discover new paths and make them familiar, just like the city I once walked and knew so well. Things never stand still in nature, and never once I walked the same paths twice, as there was always something new waiting for me. I never thought that I would teach myself how to take care of plants, of nature, of my own garden. Sowing seeds or growing vegetables was never an option in my city rental apartments. Now I have a tiny garden and I'm seeing flowers shooting up from the ground and pink buds plumping up on the cherry tree. I've planted radishes and lettuce, and I still have many other seeds to sow. I'm not an expert, and moving to the countryside didn't make me one, but I'm discovering countless new interests which I never thought I'd be so immersed in. And perhaps one of the biggest positive changes I've been witnessing here is the sense of community that a village life has. I'll be honest with you, as an introvert and someone generally a bit socially awkward, a larger sense of community is something I had to adapt to. In truth, that didn't seem like that much of a positive change as it does now. In London, we never knew our neighbors. At most, we would say hi, but generally, neighbors avoided each other on the street or in the halls of the apartment building. That was like a real introvert heaven there. That's not the case in the village, and as a tighter-knit community, people are generally more curious about each other. In fact, I'm also one of the very few foreigners who lives here. I wonder if I've already earned a reputation of a strange foreign girl who runs around through the fields with her camera. Whether it's the people you know or people you don't know, everyone greets each other on the countryside walks and gives warm smiles to strangers. Locally grown vegetables and fruits, local farm eggs, honey, flour, and even wine are all easily accessible and in abundance here. One of my favorite things are the little stalls village folk often set up on their doorstep, with homegrown plants and veggies, homemade jams, and handmade trinkets on sale. There are many other little or big inconveniences, and I'm sure more will come up in the coming seasons. But they really are minor in comparison to this entire new world I've discovered after settling in nature. I notice things with a newfound sensitivity, how everything becomes brighter and greener after February rain, how huge and bright the starry sky is, which doesn't have to compete in brightness with the city lights, how quiet and eerie life can be, unpolluted by the city noise. I've only spent 2 seasons in the countryside so far, and I'm yet to witness what kind of change spring and summer will bring. Whether this decision to move to the countryside was right or permanent, I can't say. I'm still learning and discovering so much and trying to establish myself in this newly found location. Will it be my home? Who knows? After all, a home isn't a place, but what we have within ourselves.